How do guardrails protect your marriage?
I'm Alema.
I'm G.
And this is Manuia Marriage. Today is our 31st marriage anniversary. And we thought it was a good time to talk about marriage.
Absolutely. Both Alema and I were very young when we got married. My freshman year in college, Alema just returned off a faith-based service mission, and we weren't expecting, I think, to fall in love so soon. But then again, you never can tell when you're going to meet the right person, and so I think we knew in our hearts that this was it for us, and we decided to move forward. One thing that's important, though, when you do start your marriage is understanding how precious that vow is and putting in place guardrails to protect that marriage.
That's right. You spend your lifetime looking for the right mate, and you're going to create a union that's going to bless the lives of yourselves, but also a family that you're going to bring into this world. And you want to make sure it's protected.
Absolutely. In our beliefs, marriage is not just for this time here on earth. We believe that we will be sealed into the eternities, and even more reason to be mindful of that commitment.
My first tip for implementing a guardrail into your marriage is keeping the little things the little things.
Right. I think Alema's absolutely right, because that first year of transition, if you can think back to the honeymoon stage where we could do no wrong, right? We're so in love and everything was just bliss, and now you're living
bliss
together.
And joy and
hopefully it's not that bad, and it shouldn't really be, but I think for us being as young as we were, there was definitely a transition.
Definitely a transition, lots to learn, but it was a good time too. It's a good time to get to know each other and to put in place love and respect the way it's supposed to be on a daily basis.
So what do you mean by little things, Alema? Keeping little things the little things? I
always like to stress about big things and not necessarily stress about the little things. I'll use this as a way to filter out what's important to me and what's not important to me. I always thought that if I don't care about the issue, 30 years from now, then it's probably not a big deal to me.
That's a long time to leave the seat up.
So, I guess what I'm saying is it's give and take, it's compromise.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to win every single argument. These are just daily activities, daily things that you work out together.
I think you make a great point there. When you're talking about winning or losing, there is no winners or losers, right, in a marriage. It's what we put together, how we move forward, how we like to do things. And so just keep in mind, as you are first married, that you're setting the stage for both of you.
That's right. One of the things I always tried to do, and which really worked when I did it, was to listen. A lot of times we're just processing out loud, and there's no real right or wrong. There's no solution really to any problem. You'll see that if you listen and let people express themselves and talk, really you're going to come to a conclusion or a solution that's going to be meaningful to both of you.
Honestly, I think listening is the hardest thing. I mean, you have your point of view, you have all these thoughts going.
As soon as she begins talking, I'm already formulating what I'm going to say and how I'm going to reply and get to her, and it's going to deliver, and there's no way she can not agree with me,
Exactly.
That doesn't work so much.
Listening, I think, is vital, because you're going to miss the message, or you're going to misconstrue what he means or you mean. And so kind of taking a deep breath, being able to pull yourself together in a way that you can hear each other. I think as we grew in our marriage and in our maturity, we came to realize that it wasn't even worth, the energy of arguing. You've kind of already gone through that, been there, done that, and it was basically like, okay, I get it, and just moving on.
You'll want to be able to communicate lovingly, respectfully, and effectively so that you can keep the little things.
Absolutely. Moving forward, I think one of the other areas that can be very sensitive for couples is understanding how to protect your marriage by not being with the opposite sex. Sometimes we may be innocent in our intention, but things can escalate to where we didn't intend it to be.
Men are men and women are women, and we're human, and those temptations are
natural
to anybody. They're going to be, and so being exposed to those types of temptations unnecessarily, I mean, why?
So being married young actually put us in a very vulnerable situation. You're still in college, people are dating, flirting, attracted to each other. Another experience we had at a young age was Alema playing in the NFL and being exposed to the social circles that have different beliefs and values as we did, and that opened our eyes as well to guarding ourselves, as our union of marriage was our priority.
Had many NFL friends and was in those circles for a few years, but it wasn't one of those environments that I would say was pro-marriage.
For a young couple such as us, who was probably a little bit naive to what's going on out there, it was definitely an awakening to guard ourselves and to be careful with our marriage.
Socializing with some dear friends, but just wasn't quite
Not on
the environment that I felt safe with, as far as making sure my wife is my number one. And so I saw myself leaving meetings and leaving gatherings early, just so that I could protect my marriage.
And I love that about Alema, because you don't want to put yourself in a situation that you would be compromised. So another area that you have to be mindful of is emotional intimacy. Even though it's not physical, the same damage can be done. And so you need to guard yourself as far as communication, right, with the opposite sex, and transparency in providing a united front, as if your husband or wife was communicating with them alongside you.
There's a school of thought that says that's not cheating, just as harmful as physically sharing that sharing that intimacy with someone else, because of the trust that should only be left for your spouse. Our last guardrail we want to share with you, that we don't throw around the word divorce very lightly.
When we were young and kind of in that immature stage of marriage, sometimes, I would pull out that word casually, and Alema said, hey, if that's really how you feel, then I understand, but if it's not, don't use it like that. And I appreciated that, because it helped my mindset as far as, this is something we don't want to be casual about. Our commitment to each other, our love for each other, that is something that we hold in high esteem. And to downplay it with those words, it's damaging. And so I am so grateful that Alema kind of set a standard for us, that that's not where we go if we want to win an argument.
Right. We've got all the ways to find the root of a problem and find solutions. And
by listening.
And divorce doesn't reach those solutions, so it's not something that we need to go to or even address. And really, we're trying to be effective in our communication, and then reach a solution that blesses both of us, really.
Right.
It's always a win-win. There's no such thing as a compromise.
Yes, we're on the same team. So today, we appreciate you spending a little time with us on our anniversary. We discussed 3 guardrails that can help protect your marriage. The first one being, keep the little things the little things. The second one is to protect yourself by not being alone, either emotionally or physically, with the opposite sex. And the third thing is Don't use the word divorce lightly. I know for us it's always a learning experience. We certainly don't have the perfect marriage, but we found a few things that work for us, and we hope they work for you.
If you like what you've heard, go ahead and hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Manuia.